So tomorrow is a huge game in the WNBA. It is the second matchup of Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever against Asia Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces. This is going to be one of the tougher games for Caitlin Clark, especially because this is now an Aces team with Chelsea Gray back, who are starting to look like themselves again. But what is going to be even tougher for the Las Vegas Aces is the fact that Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever team are going to run. They're going to run at them. But before we get on to it, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We are trying to hit 15.5 thousand subscribers by the end of the day. And lads, we are going to be live streaming this game as well as the Chicago Sky versus Atlanta Dream game, which is on 2.5 hours earlier. Or is it 2 hours earlier? Either way, I'm going to be live for, 2.5 hours earlier. I'm going to be live for both of them. And maybe watching, well, I would have much rather watched the Lynx versus the Liberty, but obviously people want to watch the Sky, watch the Fever first, then the Sky second, then the Aces third. So, anyway, we're going to be talking about this matchup right now. So, we have got a team coming off the back of an incredible month, facing a team coming off the back of an incredible month. So, if you want to look at the Las Vegas Aces in the standings, they're not doing anything particularly great. They're 10-6, but like this is a team that started off 6-6. So, like we have to take into account that they were a 500 team at one stage. So I just want to see what their record was this month. In the month of June, the record for the Fever was 7-4. I want to see what the record was for the Aces in the month of June. So the Aces in June started off with a loss, followed by, they were 1-3 to start June, and their only win being against 1-4 to start June. Wow. 2-4, 2-5, 3-5, 4-5, 5-5, 6-5. So they were 6-5 in the month of June, whereas the Fever were 7-4. And you might be saying, "Oh, the Fever played weaker teams." I mean, they kind of did, but the Fever also did play the Sun, Mercury, and Storm. Teams that like the Aces were losing to. Sorry, Sun, Mercury, Storm, and Liberty. But as far as form goes, you just never know. And this is a young team. And when we talk about young teams can roll. Like, young teams can go on big win streaks. It's different when it comes to the playoffs. But it's always one of those things when it comes to young teams is like, young teams, you can either catch them at their peak, at their highest of highs, or they can be at the lowest of lows. When it comes to young teams, they're really difficult to plan for because if they're playing well, they can beat anyone on their day. And if they're not playing well, they can absolutely stink it up. So, yeah, it is one of those things where I'm like, this is going to be a really tricky game, I think, for the Aces. Look, it's either going to go one of two ways. I don't think this is going to be a easy game for the Aces, but it could be. Like, the Aces did a really good job of stopping Caitlin Clark a month and a bit ago. It was in, well, I think it might have been, was it started? It wasn't the start of the month, it was May. It was May, because I'm pretty sure I was in Spain when it happened. I was not in Spain, in France. I was in France with my family when that happened. So they played on the 26th of May. Yep, I remember it quite well because I was not able to watch the game because I had just... Oh no, sorry, it wasn't. It was the day before that. I was going to Leeds to the playoffs. And they destroyed them. They absolutely destroyed them. Caitlin Clark had one of her worst games as a pro. But that was a different Indiana Fever team. That was a different Caitlin Clark. And look, it was also a different Aces team. This was an Aces team without Chelsea Gray. Neither of these teams were at their full strength. But now, this has the potential to be a game. Like, I'm just saying it right now, the Aces aren't that much better. And I mean this, they're not that much better than the Mercury. They're not. They have the better player. They have Asia Wilson, who's better than anyone on the Mercury. But you also have to take into account that these two teams played with Chelsea Gray being plus 19 or whatever when she was on the floor, and they barely won. The Mercury have beaten them twice. The Mercury beat them without Brittany Griner. This is a really damn good Mercury team. Regardless of how their record is, this is a really good Mercury team. And Indiana went and beat them and came back down 15. This is a young team that's showing fight against the two-time champions. And we all know from three-peats, it's hard. The third ring is the hardest. It's harder to get up. It's harder to compete when you've already won 2 in a row. So, yeah, I'm really, really excited for this game because I think it could actually be, this could be one of the games of the year. This could really be a, like, look, if the Fever win this game, if anyone knows about last year with Leah Boston, the Fever ran the Aces pretty close, and this was the one time, like, I remember when she was playing Asia Wilson, I watched, that's like the one Fever game I watched last year, because I was like, man, I gotta watch Boston against Asia Wilson. I gotta watch this game. Like, I would be, again, I wasn't nearly as much of a fan as I am now. I would selectively watch games what games I want to watch throughout the years. I would have watched most times the Aces played. I would have watched, back in the day, the Mercury, when they would have played the Seattle Storm when the Storm were sacked. But this is going to be that game where you're like, she's already done it against Taurasi. If I know they're different positions, but she's already beaten a team with 3 Olympians. If she goes and beats a team with 4 Olympians, it's going to be a tough one for Team USA to swallow. But they're going to walk to their gold medal, so I don't think they're going to really care. But yeah, that's the game. That's what we're expecting. So what do you guys think? Do you guys think this is going to be a blowout? Because I think with the way that they've been playing recently, I think it's very hard to predict blowout. I think it really is. I think if you're predicting a blowout, I think that's doing a disservice to how good the Fever have been. It's doing a disservice to how good the Fever have been the last, like, honestly, last month. Since they went on that little run, since they lost to the Sun that time, like, I know, was the Sun was right after, was that after they beat the Dream, or was it after they beat, when Clark was benched? They had a good win. It was right after the Mystics. And then they went on their 4 wins in a row. And, like, look, the fact that they bounced back from a bad loss against the Sky, a bad loss against the Storm, to how they played against the Mercury, especially with going 14-2 down to start it, and being down 15 in the third, pulling it back to getting a 10-point, like, literally, they were down 15 in the third. They got a 10-point lead. Then they were down 7, and they came back to win. It's down 6-2.5 to go. It's really hard to say it's a foregone conclusion right now. And who knows, this Fever team could go and get themselves rolling. And if they get rolling, they're sure as hell going to be one of the most fun teams in this league to watch anyway. Whether they're going to be the best team, I don't know, but they're going to be one of the more fun teams anyway. So, that is the video. Leave your score predictions in the comment section below. I'm guessing most people are going to go Aces, which is completely justified. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys in general for watching. Like, this channel has hit heights I never imagined, especially after 2 months. Thank you guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe.